Let's see. Yeah, I can hear me. Can we hear you?
Hello there. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we're good there.
Okay, good deal.
And then check delets.
Good deal.
Yes, that is heard also.
Good.
Hi, guys.
What's up?
This is Drew.
This is Jacob.
And no, it's not Christmas yet, but I decided to put my tree up early anyway.
He got the bug.
I don't know about that.
The windy bug. He's been infected, people.
No,
He's been infected.
No, it's not that. It's just easier to put it up now than later.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easier to put it up before Thanksgiving than after Thanksgiving.
True.
And if I'm going to put it up before Thanksgiving, since it's going to be on the set, makes sense to do it at the beginning of the theme month.
I gotcha.
That's why.
Mm.
At least that's my thought process. You may think I'm nuts. I don't know. I frankly don't care. Okay, not seeing me on YouTube just yet. Oh, yeah, now I'm live on YouTube.
Live on.
Put it up now than later.
Yes.
I agree. Well, if I can switch to the Cel Cast one, I might see if that's live. Okay, yes, that one is live. Okay, so I bring that up and I'm seeing the thing and it's still talking about Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Hold on.
See?
Well, here it's saying this.
Yeah, this is correct. But it's keeping that.
Oh, that is hysterical. Someone should get that
Edit
fixed.
post.
Yes.
And I don't really need the description. Save. Not now. Okay, dokie. All that leaves is Twitch. Twitch. And I'm live on Twitch. So yeah, we're live everywhere.
Yeah.
Yay. Yippee skippy.
Fun times. Yeah, so apparently someone got into the Christmas spirit.
And?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Your point?
I mean, like, I have a tree, but currently my apartment has been...
You're in an iffy spot at the moment.
Yes, I am in a very iffy spot. I wouldn't say like iffy where, things are dire, but it was more all my stuff has been transported to my living room.
Right.
Which is the exact same size as Studio B.
Yeah, and you really do need both rooms if you're as spread out as we are.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh.
So anyway.
Yeah. It has been a week. Let's just say that. It's been an extremely interesting week.
Indeed.
Yes. Yeah, especially when you learn that two people like you've known.
Are you talking about the ones that passed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say something. Oh, well, no, wait a minute. Is that what he's talking about? Am I jumping in too much? Probably.
Possibly.
Yeah, that's we had two people that are connected to us through the church pass. You've been dealing with whatever that situation is in your apartment.
Yeah, which is not as bad as I thought. It was more I had an appointment at one point and I just didn't have time to clean it. And so they pushed it back to another day. And I got everything done. I think it was on Monday night. And it was supposed to be on Tuesday. And it was like, oh no, it's not going to be there until like Friday. It's like, okay. So, and then I run over to the office to go turn in my monthly rent for my apartment. And it's like, oh, your apartment got sprayed on Thursday. It's like, really? No wonder it smelled a little funky. But So I called them just checking, and it was like, hey, they sprayed, right? Yeah, they sprayed. So I can move my stuff in, right? It's like, no. Wait for a couple of days, vacuum, make sure everything. Don't move in there again until like another 2 weeks. So I'm in my living room for another 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Good night.
I have to wait until the guy comes back.
Now I have a really stupid question, knowing how our apartment is laid out. Our apartments are laid out because we have the same floor plan.
Yeah, the exact.
How are you getting to the bathroom?
It's not locked. Be like the room is not. Be like I can walk in there. I can go to the bathroom.
You just can't stay in there a long time.
No, not necessarily. It's just like you just don't want to sleep in there right now.
Okay.
Because he said in between like 3 to 4 days, go vacuum and dump everything into the toilet, and then clean like thorough, because there again you're dealing with a possible infestation of something.
Right.
Yes.
That's not disturbing in the slightest.
No.
I'm gonna be vacuuming that chair when we're done. No, I'm kidding. I am so kidding.
I got fleas.
That's literally what I was just thinking. I was like, can I actually make the flea joke or not?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my word.
Yeah, let's just say bed bugs are not the funnest.
See, this is what I've been afraid of the whole time. That it was bed bugs.
Yeah, it was bed bugs.
It's not something you want to hear about being within a 1 mile radius of you, much less 2 doors down.
Gee, thanks.
I don't mean offense. It's like, you know what I mean.
Yes,
like,
I know.
If there's one thing there's a lot of things you don't want infesting your apartment.
True.
But if there's one big thing that can happen, it's that.
Yes, agreed.
But I guarantee it ain't your fault. It's one of your neighbors.
Or what I understand, I called the apartment manager where we live and asked them, because I was like, that's my first thought. It was like, maybe it was my neighbors. And apparently the inspector gave them, it's like, no, these things are, they travel with people. But like they'll hop on your back, they'll hop on your clothing, and you won't know they're there for months until it's like you got an infestation.
I'm still blaming one of your neighbors. It jumped on one of them, and that's how it got into your building.
Maybe.
But either way.
Yes.
I don't know your neighbors, so if any of your neighbors are listening to this, I am not blaming you for anything. Someone you don't know that's in your building. Either way, I'm being stupid now. You ready to do this?
Yeah, it's it's been a very interesting week. So yeah, let's get into some Earthsea. Earthsea. I was going to Earthsea for some reason. It's like, no, this is not a weird other kind of film or whatever.
It is a fantasy, so
yeah, it is a fantasy. Yeah, and apparently it's made after a bunch of books.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Deal.
The Cel Cast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cel Cast. Joining me today is a man who, we don't let him have sharp objects around anymore because then he might stab somebody. Welcome, Jacob.
Snick.
We're in trouble now, folks.
Yeah. Wow. Man.
Wow. I feel sorry for the audio people listening to this because they don't know what was so funny about that. That you said sneak.
You know, Wolverine claws, sneak.
That probably goes without saying.
Anyways. Why, thank you. And let me introduce our co-host, a man who stole my pun, but let's go for a pun too. Didn't know the girl he was in love with was actually a freaking dragon. Welcome, Drew.
Cutest dragon I've ever seen. Anyway, yes. I don't have a really good place to go with that. Yeah, today we are beginning maybe our second or third to last Miyazaki month. because we are coming into the end of what they've put out.
Yeah.
This month, of course, we're also only doing 3. Today, we're starting with Tales from Earthsea, which I was not given a lot of glowing reviews going into this.
Right.
But I will give it this much. It got me to read the books. Or at least I started on the books.
Huh.
So, yeah. You ready to jump into the spoiler-free section on this?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Alrighty.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
So, yeah, this is my first viewing of the film.
Yeah.
Bought it last year for last year's Ghibli month, or Miyazaki and Ghibli month.
Yeah.
But because of a last minute, and stress on the last minute schedule change, because of work schedule change, we didn't get to it till this year.
True.
And it's an interesting film. I have some things I'll talk about later on. That's the troubles I have with this.
Okay.
But for the most part, this may be one of the weakest Miyazaki, not Miyazaki, even though it is a Miyazaki film technically. This is one of the weakest Ghibli films, I think, but not for lack of trying.
Okay.
I think it's got a couple of issues and maybe some poor decisions on it from a first-time director, but it's still a good film. So, what are your thoughts?
This is the first time I ever watched this film, and honestly, I was blown away by it because there again, the historical nerd in me, I'm like, oh, I love these backgrounds. I love the city sets and the whole bit, the medieval fantasy kind of world. I love this kind of stuff. It reminds me of my childhood, like watching like He-Man and Thundercats and all that kind of great stuff. Overall, I really enjoyed it. There were parts of it were like, okay, that's cool. The ending went, what? Okay, I was thrown. I was like, okay, they're setting this special character up. Have no idea what they're doing, or I didn't know what they were doing. It's like, oh, this character is this. What?
It does kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Your only clue is the fact that you saw the cover of this movie and you're going, outside of those 2 dragons in the beginning, where's the cover?
Well, that was the thing. Like at the actual cover right there, over there somewhere,
Behind your head.
behind my head at some point. And it's one of these directions over here. I think it's right. No, there it is.
Anyway,
Anyways, by the cover itself, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's got dragons in it. And I was like, okay, cool.
technically, the plural is correct.
Yeah, dragons.
3,
Technically, air quotes, technically. But by that definition, I was like, okay, sign me up. It's got dragons. I want to watch it. Because there again, kind of harkens back to my childhood. Be like getting into like sci-fi and medieval fantasy kind of stuff, and like that just kind of stuff that just draws me back, and like that's the kind of stuff I like. So I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. And watching the film, I was really intrigued. I was really enjoying the movie, and I was like, wow, this is a good movie. And then the very end went, what the crap just happened? But overall, I enjoyed it. Would I recommend it? Yes. You can watch it on Max. So yes, go watch it. So yeah, I don't really see why. I can understand where people would say this is the weakest Studio Ghibli movie. I can see that, but at the same time, it's a cut above the. It's a different kind of cut of a movie.
It's like with Pixar, how
Yeah.
things that Pixar would do that everyone else we would be fine with,
Yeah.
and then Pixar does it, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. Because
Okay.
like Pixar, Studio Ghibli films do get kind of held to a higher
Yeah.
standard than
Sure.
is probably fair. Like I said, this is not a bad film. I think it's the weakest, but bear in mind where the baseline is for these films.
Totoro.
Oh, the worst film, I still say, this is a personal thought,
Okay.
but my personal is the worst one was still Ocean Wave.
Ocean Waves, yeah.
But then if we're being nice, let's be honest, well, honestly, Ocean Waves might be the worst either way. But even the Ocean Waves, as much as I don't like it,
Yeah.
it's still very well done.
Yeah.
Film.
Yeah, just go and listen to that episode we
That's
did.
a fun episode.
That is a fun episode of Drew going on his rant over quoting
There's
Frasier.
an episode of
Frasier, which is just the greatest. Someone go listen to it, clip it, put it online, and let people else listen to it. It is so much fun.
I may do this myself.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
so you ready to jump into the spoiler-filled section
Yeah.
on this?
Let's spoil this thing.
Alrighty. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film Tales from Earthsea. Listener discretion is advised. Once again, I think I have to say this nearly every anime review, though I think I may have missed it a couple last ones. We are doing the English dub.
Yes, we are
So,
doing English dub.
Tales from Earthsea was written and directed by Goro Miyazaki, which this is his directorial debut. It was also written by Keiko Niwa. It is based on the Earthsea series by Ursula K. Le Guin and partially inspired by another work actually written by Hayao Miyazaki that for some reason I did not write on here. Ain't that fun?
Mm-hmm.
Looking to see if it was in the trivia right quick. Oh, no, sorry, that's a different thing. Never mind. Getting into the cast, we've got Timothy Dalton playing Sparrowhawk, and he was James Bond in The Living Daylights and License to Kill.
Yes.
But we probably know him from Tangled the series, where he played Demanitus.
That's right. He did play Demanitus.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Our little monkey friend.
Thought Demanitus was the villain.
No.
That it is the monkey guy. It's one of the two.
Demanitus would be like he was the monkey.
Does sound like it would be a villain.
No, that was oh crap! It's been a
But
while.
yeah, it is that one episode
where he turns into be like
where Vigor becomes sane for an episode.
For an episode, yes.
Yeah. Matt Arin played Prince Aaron, and in the film Tropic Thunder, do you know this film?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Okay, so at the beginning of the film, when after the director gets the idea to take these comedic actors and throw them out into the war zone and make them survive, which doesn't go too well. And as soon as the director says action, both the director and the camera guys and everyone else on the crew that's went in with them for this guerrilla style filmmaking, they all get killed, leaving the actors to fend for themselves. But the actors don't realize that that was real.
So they think they're just still acting.
Right. I say that because one of those camera guys played Prince Aaron.
Oh gosh, poor bloke.
And that was literally the best thing I could find.
Wow.
Okay.
He got Gorilla Kong there.
Pretty much. Though maybe not
Viet Cong.
Maybe not as bad as Blair Restineo, who played Theru.
Yeah, Theru.
And she played a character named Maggie Davis in something called The Legend of Sasquatch. I don't even know what this is, other than it looks like something that Mystery Science Theater 3000 would riff on. Mariska Hargitay was Tanar,
and
she's most famous for playing Olivia Benson in the Law and Order franchise.
That's what I thought. I thought I recognized your voice from there.
Willem Dafoe was the voice of Cobb.
Yes, Cobb.
And he was Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, in the Spider-Man franchise.
Packer!
Last but not least, Cheech Marin.
Cheech Marin
played Hare, the slaver.
Oh, that makes perfect sense because it sounds like, wait a minute. Actually, now it's like, actually thinking about it, it's like, wow, that does sound like Cheech Marin.
Yeah, and this is literally like the most I've heard him act since The Lion King. Because most of the time he just has bit roles.
Yeah.
This is like, no, you actually have a decent role in this film.
Yes.
But yeah, he was Tito in Oliver and Company,
Mm-hmm.
and another character in Lion King. But I, of course, did not bring that up because that may be a Kingdom Hearts connection.
Oh.
You want?
I got one.
You got one. Can you guess how many other Kingdom Hearts connections there are?
Oh my gosh. This was a movie. This was in 2006 when this movie was dubbed.
And in like 2005 when it was released in Japan, I believe.
Okay.
And bear in mind, I do count both all voice casts.
Gotcha. So there's cross pollination.
Yes.
I would probably go with maybe 7. He's counting people.
Wait, hang on. Okay.
More counting?
More. It's higher.
Oh, it's 9.
Higher.
12.
Lower.
10.
Yes.
Okay.
It is 10. And you want to know fun? Even though I gave you the thing about it may be Japanese people.
Uh-huh.
There's no Japanese people in the Japanese version in this. That was also in Kingdom Hearts. The weirdest thing ever.
Okay, then.
So starting off, we've got Kevin Michael Richardson, who was the ship captain and one of Hare's lieutenants.
Oh, okay.
He played Sebastian and Captain Gontu in Kingdom Hearts. Tress MacNeille was one of the peasant women.
Yes.
I believe the one that is talking there after Sparrowhawk leaves to go get the sword.
Oh, yeah.
That they run into.
The two gospel women?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that one of those is Tress
okay.
MacNeille.
Oh, okay.
She's Daisy Duck, the Queen of Hearts, and Chip and Merryweather and Kanga in Kingdom Hearts.
Huh.
Of course, Cheech Marin, who plays Hare here, is Bonsai in Kingdom Hearts, the hyena.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Bennett, who was additional voices here, was the mayor of Halloween Town, Mr. Shmee, Beryl, Large Beagle Boy, Small Beagle Boy, Geppetto, Merlin, and Lumiere in Kingdom Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Jess Harnell, who played the Hazia dealer, the one that tried to get the prince on drugs.
Oh, yeah.
He plays Dr. Finkelstein Locke and additional voices in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Who's that voice actor?
Jess Harnell.
Oh, Jess
Wacko Warner.
Oh, okay. Got it.
That's the main thing we know him from. Or
Party emergency.
Brian George played the king, and in Kingdom Hearts, he played Barbossa. Russie Taylor played the other peasant woman. Of course, she's Queen Minnie Mouse and Fauna. And I want to point out something here.
Okay.
That means, in a strange way, those gossiping women were Minnie Mouse and Daisy Duck.
Brilliant.
Just putting that out there. Speaking of major voice actresses from Disney, Suzanne Blakesley, who I didn't write down who she played in this movie.
Brilliant.
Oh, 5 seconds. This won't take me long.
Oh, brilliant.
Tales from Earthsea IMDb. Oh, I'm sorry. I did write it down, but I assumed it was another character. Backing up. Suzanne Blakesley, who in this film played the Queen. And in Kingdom Hearts, she was Maleficent, the Twilight Town Computer, and Lady Tremaine, and the Evil Queen.
Oh, okay.
She plays every classic Disney villain.
Oh.
And probably if Ursula ever comes back, probably her too.
Yeah. Ever since Pat Carroll has passed away.
Yes. But that hasn't happened yet, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Tara Platt was hang on. I don't think that's Tara Platt. I think that's Tara Strong. But for some reason I wrote Tara Platt.
I was like, who's Tara Platt?
I don't know. Oh, there's a Tara Platt.
And apparently she was in a Spider-Man game.
One of the games, yeah. But she's not in Tales from Earthsea.
So it's Tara Strong, most
So
likely.
it's probably Tara Strong, who has additional voices in both.
Oh, okay. Because there again, Tara Strong does everything.
Well, yes. And Karen Straussman was additional voices in both. So what do we have in info and stuff?
So info and stuff. Let me get me all the way to the info and stuff. All right, so info and stuff. IMDb, it is a 6.3 out of 10. It's available on Max if you are subscribed to Max, formerly known as HBO Max. Production
Formerly
was
known as HBO Online.
Yes.
Formerly known as HBO We Want Money.
fair. Production obviously was Studio Ghibli, distributed by Toho. Well, I like saying Toho. That's
Toho.
Toho. It's a very fun name to say, Toho. It was originally released on September 29th, 2016. Was that the Japanese release day? Or?
No, if it's 2016,
That's right. That's right.
the English one.
Yes,
Because there's
yes.
actually, I don't know if you got this in there. There was a reason Disney did not immediately release this
Really?
when it came to America, and that's because the Sci-Fi Channel for one of their direct to Sci-Fi original movies,
yeah,
was they had the rights to Earthsea, and so Disney illegally couldn't release it in the United States until that went up, and then they could make the English dub. I don't know what that is.
Okay. All right. So let me get to it. All right. It had an estimated budget of $22 million. It's open. Let's go to the Japanese box office first, and we'll get into the American. The film reached number one at the Japanese box office on its opening week. It grossed over 900 million yen, or $7.7 million in US dollars, pushing Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest to second place and becoming the number one film in the country for 5 weeks.
Dead Man's Chest, I think. What year did you say this came out?
2006, so this has been 2005.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. It became the year's fourth top grossing movie in Japan and the year's highest grossing domestic Japanese film with 7.65 billion yen.
This would have been 2006 because that's when Dead Man's Chest came out.
Yeah.
So sorry, I had your dates wrong.
Okay, no problem. Not a problem. Your computer's beeping.
I know. I can't make it stop.
Okay. As of 2020, it has grossed over 7.84 billion yen in Japan and $75.5 million worldwide. So now going into the US release. First released here in the United States and good old Canada on August. This was the weekend of August 15th, 2015. It grossed on its opening weekend was $20,000 and a lot of change. Its US gross and Canada was $48,000 and a lot of change. Its overall international gross was $68.8 million. So yeah, the movie's made some money. Let's see. Let's go into home release. We're starting with Japan. The video was released on DVD and VHS in Japan by Buena Vista Home Entertainment on July 4th, 2007. The DVD included the movie with both the original Japanese soundtrack and English dub, alongside a select of bonus features. A special edition 4 DVD set, 4-disc DVD set, was also released in the same day, featuring extra language tracks and more bonus material. Walt Disney Studio Japan released the film on Blu-ray on November 16th, 2011. The company later reissued the DVD with a HD remaster on April 20th, 2022. In the United States, Walt Disney Studio Home Entertainment released the film on DVD on March 8th, 2011. The company later released the movie for the first time on Blu-ray on February 3rd, 2016. G-Kids later on reissued the film on Blu-ray and DVD on February 6th, 2018 under the new deal with Studio Ghibli. I don't believe there's a sequel, but apparently there's books. So
There is a book franchise.
Yes, there is a book franchise apparently. So that is all I have for info and stuff.
All right, getting into the summary. As a war galley sails through a storm, two dragons fight above the clouds, ending in one's death. In the kingdom of Inlad, the royal wizard, Root, proclaims that dragons to be a sign of a loss of balance in the world. The king is dealing with disease sweeping across his kingdom and the disappearance of his son, Prince Aaron. In the middle of the night, Aaron kills his father, steals his father's sword, and flees the castle. Aaron travels through the desert and is rescued from wolves by the Archmage Sparrowhawk. Together, they travel to the city of Horttown, where Aaron explores the town alone. He rescues a young girl named Theru from slavers, but is later captured by the same slave master, Hare. His sword is dumped in the sea. Sparrowhawk rescues Aaron and the slave caravan and takes him to a farm run by Sparrowhawk's oldest and greatest friend, Tanar, who lives with Teru. Sparrowhawk's intervention against Haru's slave caravan against Lord Cobb, a powerful warlock and the ruler of Horttown, who wants the Archmage brought to the castle. Meanwhile, Sparrowhawk tells Aaron that he seeks a way to restore the upset balance, then resumes his search in Horttown. While there, he buys Aaron's sword from a merchant stall and manages to evade capture from Hare whilst learning about Cobb's castle. Aaron confesses to Teru that he killed his father and that he feels an unknown presence following him. Because of this, Aaron leaves the farm, but is met by the presence, which is a mirror image of himself. Aaron falls unconscious after stumbling into a swamp while fleeing from the image. Cobb takes him to the castle where he manipulates Aaron into revealing his true name, Prince Labenin, to control him. Meanwhile, Hari captures Tanar as bait to lure Sparrowhawk into the castle, leaving Teru tied to a post as a messenger. She frees herself and encounters Sparrowhawk, who gives her Aaron's sword to give to Aaron. Sparrowhawk breaks into the castle to save Tanar and confronts Cobb. Sparrowhawk learns that Cobb is causing the world's balance to collapse by opening the door between life and death to try and gain eternal life. Sparrowhawk tries to warn Cobb of the dangers of upsetting the balance, and Cobb sends Aaron out to kill him. Sparrowhawk frees the prince and Cobb's control, but is captured by Hare after being weakened. Meanwhile, Teru sees the duplicate of Aaron and follows him to the castle, where he reveals that he is the light within Aaron and tells Teru his true name. Teru enters the castle and learns of Sparrowhawk and Tanar's sunrise execution. She finds Aaron guilty and hopeless and brings hope back to him, calling him by his true name and confiding in him her own true name, Tahanu. They rush to rescue Sparrowhawk from Tanar. Aaron confronts Cobb, who tries to kill him. He fights back and finally unsheaths his sword, which was sealed with magic. Aaron cuts off Cobb's staff-holding hand. Unable to use any of his magic powers, Cobb rapidly begins to age. He captures Teru and flees to the highest tower of the castle with Aaron in pursuit. Cornering Cobb, Aaron tries to explain what he learned about life and death from Teru and Sparrowhawk to Cobb, but the withering Dark Lord refuses to listen and uses the last of his magic to strangle Teru to death. Instead of dying, however, she reveals her true form as a dragon, possessing everlasting life. Teru kills Cobb with her fire breath and rescues Aaron from the collapsing tower. Sparrowhawk and Tanar leave the castle while Teru and Aaron, however you say this guy's name, land in a field where Teru changes back into a human. Aaron tells Teru that he will leave for home to repent for his crime, but will come back to see her someday. After he and Teru reunite with Sparrowhawk and Tanar, the four of them spend some time together. Aaron and Sparrowhawk depart for inland, bidding Teru and Tanar goodbye. Teru looks up to see her fellow dragons airborne, indicating that the balance of the world has been restored. Getting into the trivia for this. Hayao Miyazaki first wrote to author Ursula K. Le Guin about adapting her book into a film. Le Guin at the time was unfamiliar with Miyazaki's work and associated animation to be similar to Disney animation, and turned the offer down. After she saw My Neighbor Totoro, she loved it and decided to allow the movie to be made. Hayao Miyazaki wanted to direct the film, but was busy filming Howl's Moving Castle at the time. Producer Toshio Suzuki chose Goro Miyazaki to direct since he was impressed by Goro's talent and making decisions quickly and properly while working in the Ghibli Museum, and his ability to draw pictures. Hayao was against Goro directing, and production was very tense. Ursula K. Le Guin was disappointed in the final adaptation of the book. Despite the movie being property of Japan's Studio Ghibli, it marks Disney's, either through production or distribution, their first animated film to receive a PG-13 rating. Parts of the film were inspired by and borrowed heavily from Hayao Miyazaki's graphic novel. This is the one I couldn't remember. The Journey of Shauna. Hayao also reused elements from his book for his own directorial efforts, such as Princess Mononoke and Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Goro Miyazaki was 37 at the start of production, the same age as his father, Hayao Miyazaki, was of his first film. This is Studio Ghibli's first film to be rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, standing at 41%. This is loosely based on The Farthest Shore, the third book of the Earthsea novel series by Ursula K. Le Guin. What is your first like for this film?
My first like, and this is the first thing that blew my ever living mind with this theory, and being a history nerd, is the freaking backgrounds of this enormous fantasy world and how depth it is. Be like the fact to be like you are thrust into a world you don't understand. You're like most Ghibli films, you are kind of like gently walked into a world where you are immersed into it. This one, you are just plunged right into it. And what I love is the architecture, the design of the world, because to me, it has this very much of a fallen Roman Empire that has been taken over by the Islamic Caliphate back in I want to say the 11th century, back when Constantinople fell. But there again has this very much this ancient ruin world feel, like this world is falling apart in every fashion to form. Like everywhere you turn, there's nothing but ruin and decay. And just the design of the world, the design of the characters, I just love all this stuff. I just ate it up. And it was probably my favorite part of this film was the aesthetic, the world itself, and the character design. It's very much a Ghibli film. But when you see aqueducts and you see like something that looks like the Hagia Sophia, with its turrets after the Caliphate took over, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is gorgeous!" Be like, "Can I just get a shot of this in the background?" And I will put that on my wall. Thank you very much. That is gorgeous. So yes, the backgrounds, I love it. What's your number first like?
The art in general in this film. There is not a shot in this film that is not absolutely gorgeous. There is some compositing issues, but those are minor for the most part.
Yeah, true.
Especially when they bring in where the digital stuff is. But bear in mind, this was 2006. This is
true.
It was still a little new at the time.
Fresh.
That particular way of doing things.
Very freshy fresh.
But the art in this thing is beautiful. Every character design, every piece of background, like you said, whole sequences. It's like, oh, this is breathtakingly gorgeous. But my first like is the art.
Okay. My second like, well, I put this one character on there. Is like, you know what? The only part I really enjoyed was the very end when you realize, oh, it's this actor who's doing it. And then you were going through the cast, and I was like, oh, I enjoy this character more. Cheech Marin.
Yeah.
I love the character and his motivations are absolutely horrendous. Let's say that. But as a character, every like Cheech Marin chewed this microphone up so good. Like he's the comedic character throughout the entire film, but as a henchman to Cobb and the the evil slave trader. Oh my gosh, I love his character. Strictly from a characteristic standpoint, it is golden every single time. The design of what's the character's name?
Hare,
Hare.
I think is how you say his
Hare.
name.
That's right. Yeah, Captain Hare is just so well done. There again, the medieval fallen world kind of design, this cloaks and swords and armor and the whole bit. I love his little helmet where it's literally comes down, it's got a little visor on it. I love that design. It is so great. And they're again going into Cheech Marin, every time he's chewing the microphone up, he is giving like a Cheech Marin performance, like you said before in the opening, where Cheech Marin was primarily known for like doing small roles and not very large roles.
Well, I mean, Cheech and Chong is what he's
Yeah.
primarily known for.
Right.
So yeah, in those films he has a major role, but
right.
for the most part, in like the stuff that I normally see him in,
yeah, he's got more bit parts.
it's more like, oh, it's the funny Mexican.
Yeah.
It's the roles that now go to Gabriel Iglesias.
Right. Right. I think of Gabriel, not Gabriel, let's not get him on my mind. Cheech Marin, I think of Ghostbusters 2, his one little scene in New York when the Titanic comes back and it's like, they're, I can't even remember the line. I think it was like they're like a little early, aren't they?
A little late, maybe.
A little late, maybe. That's right. But yeah, like Cheech Marin be like, I just loved his performance. It was great. It was wonderful. It was a delight to hear his performance and what he brought to the stage, or in this case, the microphone, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
My second while I do appreciate yours, don't get me wrong. As I have gotten older and I've listened to this particular actor when he is in stuff. Granted, when I first the first time I heard of this actor, it was with a negative connotation because he's famous for playing a character that has been played by a lot of different actors. Okay. And he's one of the less liked actors.
Oh, okay.
In that role.
Gotcha.
Well, till Pierce Brosnan, but that's beside the point. I'm talking about Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton.
And the thing is, I have yet to see either of those two films. I am strongly suspecting Timothy Dalton's getting a lot more flack than he deserves for that, because good night, he is such a good, strong voice actor, and you can tell it here as Sparrowhawk.
Yeah.
He's just he's just got that kind of voice where it's like it's like a not quite as menacing Christopher Lee, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
It's that kind of tone and intonation, but you're not automatically thinking, okay, Saruman and Dooku. Couldn't think of the guy's name.
Yes, Dooku.
Saruman and
Count
Dooku
Dooku.
and Dracula and every other villain horrible villain from my life is now speaking to me as a major character.
Yeah.
And then you got this guy go, he's got that kind of voice, but it's still kind of nicer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's yeah, I agree.
He's got that presence.
Yeah.
And it's really what you need from a wizard character like this, because this guy's basically Gandalf.
Yeah.
And he does such a good job with this role. Having gone through the first book, which is mostly Sparrowhawk's background from when he first went into learning magic to, I assume it's going to end when he becomes Archmage, but I don't know this for certain.
Okay.
I at least know how he got the scar.
Oh, okay.
Which is an interesting little tale.
So how I'm just questioning, how did he get the scar?
Being a teenager and showing off in front of his buddies by using some magic he really shouldn't have.
I thought he would gotten fighting with some kind of animal. It looks like a slash across his face.
Well, it is a slash, and I'm trying not to spoil anything for anyone who might go through the book.
Okay.
But he summoned something he really shouldn't have.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it that way.
Gotcha.
Because he was showing off. He got into a fight.
Oh, okay.
That sort of thing.
Oh, okay. Now I'm intrigued. Now I might want to.
And the story is very good. A Wizard of Earthsea is the name of the first book.
Okay, just curious. Be like, you're listening to audio or
I
extra?
am listening to audio.
Okay.
It's on Audible.
Okay.
But
not sponsored. We love be sponsored.
Actually, we might need to double check something because that one might be possible.
Okay. All right. Good deal.
But beside the point, the book is Sparrowhawk is. I think Timothy does a very good job of getting where that character is that this movie doesn't show you.
Okay.
Because if you were just taking Sparrowhawk here, it's like, yeah, you could see he's a serious character, but you have no idea what is behind what his past is, because he's supposed to be basically mysterious Gandalf in this film, because he's not the main character of this film, which is interesting considering Sparrowhawk is the main character of the series from what I can tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I enjoyed Timothy Dalton's performance of Sparrowhawk in this. So what's your third like?
My third like, that's one of the things I forgot to put down was my third like. Oh my gosh. Like, let's see. I talked about the background. I talked about Cheech Marin's performance. Oh heck, I'll throw my second like, my original second like that I changed to Cheech Marin. My third like would be William Dafoe. Be like, there again, I wasn't the biggest fan of the character per se. I loved once I started to realize this was actually William Dafoe, and having primarily known William Dafoe from his performance from the Spider-Man films, Sam Raimi films, let's say that. And when I realized this was William Dafoe, I nearly lost my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, this is William Dafoe. Because I kept listening. I was like, when he's like getting really menacing and he's like divulging his diabolical plan, I was, oh my gosh. I was like, this is William Dafoe. And it's like, oh, that makes sense. That makes total sense. And once I realized it was who it was, it made me more impressed they got William Dafoe to be this villain, because there again, William Dafoe can be an extremely menacing actor.
Yes.
His vocal presence and the whole bit. And it was like when he plays Cobb, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is voice acting wise, it's incredible. So yeah, William Dafoe as Cobb. I wouldn't say so much as Cobb as the character, but William Dafoe's performance as Cobb.
You stole my third like. Yeah, I'm gonna go with William Dafoe as Cobb also. Like you said, Cobb is not that good a villain for the most part.
Right.
Hare is much more interesting as a villain. But Willem Dafoe does such a good job voicing this character. At first, I was like, oh, they wasted Willem Dafoe on this, because especially near the beginning of the first scenes with Cobb, going, oh, he's just gonna be. This isn't really gonna work very well. He's got the slimy down. Don't get me wrong, but the slimy is not really fitting this character here, which is ironic considering about 10 minutes later, and we see that he's pretty much made of slime.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm getting it now. And I'm finally getting to the point. It's like, okay, he's doing a juxtaposition type thing where he's playing this, but he's got to look like this, because what he really is not what he's showing off, which is doing such a good job of doing it. And it really shows, it really gets to its best at the very end, when, he's starting to age, and he's doing those You can tell he kind of knows what's going on, but kind of doesn't. He just doesn't care, and he's stalking up like this. Oh no, I've killed the girl. Too bad. So sad. I can't do the lines justice.
Yeah. Sad, so sad.
Yeah, it's like,
oh my
oh,
gosh.
and I'm like, okay, something's gonna have to happen to kill this guy,
Mhm.
and it does.
Yes.
But
Flap.
yeah, Willem Dafoe does such a good job with this role. It's actually kind of a shame that this is not as a better film. And granted, it's a good film, but it's not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
That's the problem, and we'll get to and explain why. We'll have to talk about our dislikes. So you go
Yeah,
first.
I gotcha.
Unless you would rather I go first.
No. Be like, so I kept thinking of Green Goblin, so I just wanted to bring up something. Wake up, little spider. You're not dead yet, just paralyzed. You're an amazing creature, Spider-Man. You and I are not that different. I was like, just William Dafoe as, Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, and you apply that at the very end of Cobb's performance.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I was like, yes, bring it. So
your first dislike, please.
My first dislike. Let me get my notes. Notes. Where's the notes? Here's the notes.
Hang on.
All right, my first dislike. It seems there's no conclusion to this movie. Let me explain.
There is a conclusion, but it's like the end of it. There's more. It feels like there's more to it.
Yeah, it feels like there's more to it. There's more of Aaron is our main
Prince
character.
Aaron.
Yeah, Prince Aaron, who kills his father because he's possessed by a spirit. This is what it seems like.
Yeah.
It's like a dark spirit, and we never see any conclusion where he is where he finally goes back to his father's kingdom. We don't really have a it's an open-ended story where we don't really have a solid conclusion. Like there should have been like a second part to it. Obviously there never was. So to me it was more, but it ended with Aaron and our now dragon girl being friends. Like every Ghibli film, they're never like a romantic interest characters. They're just like really good friends. But it's just like it left off on this very odd note. It's a good movie, do not get me wrong. It was just like, can I get a solid conclusion? But our villain has been vanquished, but can I get more of what happens to these characters? Nope. But
well, I mean, it ends like it begins.
Yeah,
which is with in the middle of what's going on.
Yeah,
it began like that, where you just kind of coming in, and it's like it's telling you nothing about how it goes.
Yeah,
and then it kind of ends. It's like, well, we won't tell you how it ends either.
Okay, here's a good comparison.
It's not that it doesn't tell the end of a story; it doesn't have a good beginning of the story, but the world is obviously continuing both sides, and it's just comes in like that.
Yeah. So I think of it like Star Wars not Revenge, but The Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
But you have this movie that is set in the middle of two films. It's a second act to a 3-part trilogy. And it starts off, it's like, okay, these characters are already established, and it ends with, okay, we have no idea what's gonna happen. But I'll be like, it's enjoyable, but I wish we had more conclusion to this. It feels like there should be another film attached to this, or at least there's more information given to us.
So,
and like you said, this is based off the third book.
This is technically based off the third book.
Mm-hmm.
And Tanar, I know it's technically her story. She says Sparrowhawk rescued her from the tombs of Anak.
Mm-hmm.
The second book literally called the Tombs of Anak. So,
okay,
that happened right before this.
Okay,
and then this is technically the name comes from the fourth book, which is a collection of short stories.
Okay,
that are peppered throughout.
That makes sense.
Which still makes you wonder, why'd you call this one Tales from Earthsea? There's only one tale here.
True.
But yeah, I mentioned that this is probably one of the weakest Ghibli films. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying the film is bad.
Yeah.
I'm saying of all of the Studio Ghibli films, it's the weakest one. It's the one that's there has to be a film at the bottom.
Yes.
This for me happens to be it's either at the bottom or like right above the bottom. And part of that is every other Studio Ghibli film, at the very least, gives you something tangible you already know to kind of attach yourself to.
Got it.
The closest one that doesn't do that might be Princess Mononoke, because it actually starts with the demon, them fighting the demon.
Yeah.
But it very quickly gets past that point to when you're just watching him on his journey. So this film does not give you that.
Okay.
It starts and it's weird. I say weird. It's another world all the way through. There's nothing that really you can connect quickly to except for fantasy tropes.
Yes.
Now, I say that. I was able to keep up pretty quick, but that is one of the downsides here is they like the first line in this film. Actually, maybe the second or third, but it's in the first scene.
Okay.
They get it's on the ship, and the captain of the ship calls up the weather wizard.
Yeah.
What on earth is a weather wizard? But you kind of can figure out what that is.
Yeah.
Calls him up to the deck to stop the rain from coming, or
Yeah.
calm the waves, or what have you. And all of a sudden, you could see the terror in the weather wizard's eyes because I've forgotten the names of the waves. Now, here's the thing. I kind of knew what that was going on, why that was necessary. But if you are not if you're not a fantasy connoisseur and not have had to deal with magic systems and trying to figure that out, you're going, what do you mean? What's the name of the waves? They're waves.
Yeah.
This is a traditional magic system that is present in a lot of different things where names give power.
Yes.
The fact that names have power does not come up again until halfway through the film?
Yeah.
When Cobb finally convinces Aaron to tell him his true name. If you didn't catch that at the beginning, you didn't catch that part right there. You have no idea why him telling his true name is important.
Yeah, that's true.
You just think, oh, well, maybe he wasn't traveling under his true name because then people would know, oh, this is the prince that killed his father. Yeah. Except then you have to remember, oh, no, he was being called Prince Aaron at the castle.
Yes.
So that can't be it. What is this deal with this true name? And then she ends up telling him her true name later on. You're going, you kind of can tell there's something more there, but it doesn't give you anything on why this is a big deal. Why telling Cobb his true name let Cobb take control of Aaron? It doesn't tell you that. It implies a lot.
Yeah.
And granted, I kind of was able to catch on to this. But it's only because I think I've read some other, like, I think there's a Tolkien book that deals with the power of names and such. And I read that way back in high school, or junior high, which was the wrong time for me to be reading this, especially when it was abridged. But it doesn't. It's minutia like that this film doesn't give you. You can kind of tell when they get to the Hajda dealer that, oh, that's a drug, because it's kind of obviously being told explicitly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in here where it's like you're expected to. It expects you to grab a hold and hang on for this stuff. Don't get me wrong. That's something I do think you should be able to do, but it is weird for a Studio Ghibli film to not give you anything tangible about the universe other than we're walking. And that's pretty much until they get to the farming stuff on Teru's farm. that's about it. I mean, this gives you nothing to help ease you in. It just drops you in. I know that's one of the things you liked about it.
Yeah.
Is that it just dropped you into the universe.
Yes.
And you had to swim.
Mm-hmm.
But that is, in my opinion, if you don't pick up in a hurry, you are left to drown for the rest of the film.
That is true.
That is the downside here. And I think that's really where this film suffers is if you missed anything in that opening, you're lost. And you're drowning and not able to tread water in this film. And that is so odd for a Ghibli film. So yeah, that's my first dislike is that there's nothing to hold on to at the beginning of this film.
I gotcha.
That you don't already know what it is.
Yeah.
Which is odd for a Ghibli film.
Yeah. Also, I do like your the analogy be like being dropped into a world.
Yeah.
And you don't have a life preserver. You got to figure things out.
And I have
you're not throwing a line.
I have nothing against being dropped into a world.
Yeah.
But you gotta throw me the preserver fairly quick so that we don't drown. That's just something I prefer in a film.
Fair.
I should not have had to read the books before to know what half this stuff they're referring to is.
Yeah.
Granted, I should be able to say, oh, dragons are fighting in the sky, and that's what's causing the weather. That would be fine. Then don't call the weather wizard up. And give me this information. It's like where I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But granted, how else do you bring in the thing about the power of names? Because that's something everyone in this world is going to know.
Yeah.
So you don't have the thing. You don't have the Jubilee to ask the stupid questions so that we can find out what the answers are.
Right.
This is not a film where we can have that with parts of this. So anyway.
Yes. My second dislike, there again, this came out of nowhere. It was like, what in the world? But it's I have her name. Thera? How do you pronounce her name?
Teru?
Yeah, Teru. Yeah, Teru's transformation. I was like, okay, here's the villain. The villain's got the upper hand. Prince Aaron is like he's hanging on by a thread, and here comes Teru.
Yeah. Here comes Dragon Ex Machina.
Yeah, exactly. Dragon Ex Machina. That's the title. That's the title.
Dragon Ex Machina is definitely the title of this review.
Yes. Dragon.
I am writing that down.
Good. Deus Ex Dragon.
Dragon Ex Machina.
Dragon Ex Machina. But yeah, Teru just pops into a dragon form, and like Cobb is like, oh my. It's like she turns into enormous dragon. You don't see the transformation, which I thought would have been freaking amazing if they did.
Well, they kind of did it, but it was a very much anime transformation.
That is true. That is true.
So it's like the only thing you need that would have made it worse. I say worse. That would have given us more is like if it was like a Sailor Moon magical girl.
That's what I kept thinking.
Because technically, she's a magical girl.
That is true. She turns into a freaking dragon.
But anyway,
Dragon Ex Machina.
Dragon Ex Machina.
But oh my, it just came out of nowhere. I was like, okay, we get context to be like she was abused by her parents, very cruelly, and then she was raised by how do you pronounce her name?
Tanar.
Raised by Tanar. And we really don't get. I wish they would have like hinted at something. Like they kind of hint that she's kind of special. But there again, like you said, like in the books, we understand like this and this and this about Teru, not Teru.
Well, I mean, I say that I've actually come across in what I've read so far.
Yeah,
I've come across dragons, and they're not presented with the same mythology. So I don't know how much. I'm getting the feeling that this is not even a good adaptation of the universe that it's coming from. It's taking a lot of elements with this, like, oh, we need dragons to show up.
Okay.
Why does the dragon that will be my second dislike. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, it's Teru's transformation to a dragon, and we have no explanation why. If they would give us some kind of like drop little breadcrumbs here and there about dragons, because we always see is two dragons
at the beginning fighting, and we're they talk. They say something along the lines of, seeing dragons this close to man. That's dangerous. That means the world is getting out of balance. There's another issue, but
true. And also,
what does balance mean? The movie never tells you what they're talking about with balance.
Well, if I'm remembering this correctly, there again, I've only watched the movie once.
Fair enough.
Where it's the one of the king's mages or whatever is talking about, like, humanity went one way and another part of humanity went away and they became dragons or something like that. But I could see that, but at the same time be like, can we get a little more explanation why Teru becomes a dragon? And I really wish they would have. But it's just like, okay, Dragon Ex Machina shows up, kills the villain. Movie over.
So here's theory.
Okay.
All this is, she was always a dragon.
Yeah.
But she's the kind of dragon that can turn into a human.
Yeah.
So in order to stay undercover so she doesn't get attacked by, I'm assuming, her abusive family, and to camouflage herself among the humans, she stays human most of the time.
Interesting theory. Podcast theory. But I would probably counter that theory. It's a good theory. The only problem is she doesn't even realize she's actually a dragon. I think it's more be like she has this hidden ability she doesn't even know about until her power is unleashed, and then she becomes a dragon.
I would like to point out, whether you're correct or whether I'm correct, it's all theory, because the movie doesn't really tell us.
You're not kidding.
There is no hint at all.
Yes.
That she is a dragon until, wait, why is she standing up? She should be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get the whole the little hair ties on her,
yeah, that thing.
They disappeared, and she's obviously going Super Saiyan.
Yeah, that's what I kept thinking.
It's like,
oh crap!
Like, oh, she's still alive. Why is she still alive? Oh, she's a dragon. She must be more powerful. Wait,
what?
Why? Forget it. You pretty much got your dislike out before because mine's gonna jump right off of this.
Okay, my first thought was like, okay, she's gonna turn to oh crap, what's the dragon from Dragon Ball Z?
Shinron.
She turns into Shinron.
Well, except that's an Eastern style dragon.
I know. Nuance.
This is a Western style fantasy source. It's got to be Western dragon, except it's not even. Anyway.
Anyways, what is your second dislike?
So, how did she survive?
She's a dragon?
And
Dragon Ex Machina?
Why are dragons are immortal, apparently?
Yeah, apparently they're immortal.
But
they have eternal life.
But they have kids, right?
I would think so.
And they haven't taken over the whole world?
I don't know.
We don't know this. About the balance?
We have no information.
The movie tells us nothing about dragons. Why does the dragon have eternal life? And then she has that one line. She says, I have life, so I can give it to another. Huh?
What?
He's alive. Yeah, he's depressed, and if you can call that living, but
it's living to an extent.
Does not make sense. Maybe I am just. Hey, we both only had one viewing of the film.
Yes.
We could have missed something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no idea why Dragon Girl survived being attacked by Willem Dafoe.
Dragon Ex Machina.
That's what it comes down to. It's Dragon Ex Machina.
Yeah.
That's the problem here. It's Dragon Ex Machina.
It just comes out of nowhere.
It is literally a Deus Ex Machina style ending. There's nothing that tells you this is coming. There is no. It's the way it's presented. It's like she's dead. That's the end.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, Sparrowhawk and the other girl, they're going. Teru, they're not Teru. Tanar. They're going to die. Forget the fact that Sparrowhawk should have protagonist armor, considering he's the main character of the franchise, and there's more books after this. Or after the book that this one's based on.
Yes.
Because I have a strong suspicion I'm going to get to book 3, and it's going to tell this story, and it's not going to... It's going to be, wow, I could definitely see what they changed with this film.
I'm going to read from our comments. The dragons meet Jesus' eternal life.
If only.
Yeah, if only. Thank you, David.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like you said, be like it is Dragon X Machina, and it comes out of nowhere. It's like, okay, that's it, movie over. And then she just pops out of nowhere, goes Super Saiyan Dragon on everybody, and just kills the villain.
Like,
That's it.
Okay. And then they say, "Oh, I'm going to go back to my hometown and repent for what I've done." And you're thinking, "Okay, you're leaving this? No, we're going to spend another month here working the farm, just so you have stuff to put on the end credits." Is that why?
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's like I kept thinking it was like, okay, Aaron just wants to get close to his dragon friend.
that's what it is. They're
Yeah.
in love.
They're in love.
They're going to
But,
have little.
yeah. Oh gosh,
we have
Prince and Princess dragons.
Considering that for most of this film, Prince Aaron is acting like a donkey. We have the Studio Ghibli version of Shrek.
And tomorrow I'm getting to waffles.
I'm just saying, if somebody has time on their hands and is good at editing, I want some lines from Shrek from Donkey in Prince Aaron's mouth, please. With Sparrowhawk as Shrek.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. So what is my third?
Yeah, what is your third dislike?
Okay, let me get there. All right. So my third dislike would be Cobb. He is a kind of a mediocre villain. It's like, yeah, he sits in his ivory tower and be like, yeah, Cheech Marin character does everything, and he's just like, be like, ooh, like he's an evil wizard. And when we finally meet him, he turns into goo. It's like, I am past immortality. I'm a big villain. Oh, I'm gonna give him a big monologue of how evil I am. I'm gonna do this, and then he becomes Goochar from Dragon X Machina. And that's
what? Goochar?
Goochar, because he gets burned.
Okay.
That was the first thing that came to mind, Goochar. Because he turns into goo.
Anyway.
Yes. So be like, I don't find Cobb, our evil villain, not so much villainous because he doesn't really do anything villainy. Like, yeah, he kidnaps some people, which is terrible. To get Sparrowhawk to come to him, which, okay, great, that's pretty evil. But he doesn't do. I think of because we reviewed it. We reviewed the Black Cauldron. We've already reviewed that. And I think of the Horn King, King of that character.
Horn King is literally the character I was thinking of when we were describing Cobb.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Be like, he's just the villain that sits in the background.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything until the very end of the film, and it's kind of lackluster in a way. Like, yeah, he shows off his power a lot.
Palpatine in the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, he literally
does
there
and sends everyone else out to do his dirty work, and finally does something at the end.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't like him like I like Darth Vader.
That's true, and he ends kind of like Palpatine.
Yes,
except not being thrown down a shaft, he gets burned up and he falls.
And thankfully, Hare, being this movie's version of Darth Vader, does not end up being Aaron's dad. Thankfully.
Yeah, that would our mother in this case.
Hare is Cheech Marin.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Granted, I know why you said that because we have done something. It sounds like Haru, which is a girl Japanese name.
Yes, Haru.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways. Yes, be like our kind of like the very typical villain who doesn't do anything. He's too powerful, so he gets the henchman to do it. Mm-hmm. The henchmen are more interesting than our main villain, and he comes in like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna do this, ha ha ha. Oh, I'm gonna take over the world, ha ha. Oh, I'm burning. That's it. And he's goo. That's about it.
Pretty much.
Dragon X Machina. I'm goo and I'm burned. I'm more gooier because I got
Mhm.
became charry or whatever.
Okay.
What is your third dislike?
My third dislike for this film is, wow, is it slow?
It's a
It's not
drudge.
meant to be a fast film.
No,
Don't get me wrong.
It's building a
And
world.
it's building the world. It's trying to give it an epic feel,
Mhm.
and that's fine. But good night. It seems like for the first hour, very little happens.
Yeah, agreed.
That pushes the story along. It's a lot of existing in this world. Now, granted, that's something that Ghibli is very good about, because you look at stuff like My Neighbor Totoro, which
Mhm.
so much of that film, the stuff that's happening is just there for
Mhm.
letting you live in this world for a bit.
Yes.
And that's true of a lot of these films. But you get to this one and it starts off with like dragons and balance and regicide,
Mhm.
and then you're like thrown out there into the desert there where he's going to meet Sparrowhawk, and you're like, he's fighting the wolves and Sparrowhawk saves him, and then it's like, and now we're going to slowly go elsewhere, and this kid's going to go off and do things he shouldn't have because he was disobeying. And granted, if Retro ever does this film, I will completely agree with Francisco about kids get
Disobeying their parents.
disobedient kids. 'Cause if this kid would have just done what Sparrowhawk said, he would have been a lot better off than he was.
But that's a teenage character. That's what they do. They don't
he
listen
was
to
rebelling. I get that.
exactly.
But so little happens, and when things do happen, they seem to have no explanation for why they're happening. We don't know why he killed his father in the beginning of the film.
The only explanation we're really given is that either it's his evil side or it's this dark entity that's following him and he can't control it.
Well, and that dark entity thing is a thing from the universe, because there is like somehow you got depression can result in like possession to some degree, which is kind of what happens with Cobb and all that with and how he goes with that. But it's, if you are just going into this film with like no knowledge of what this is, it tells you
nothing.
You get no explanation as to why he did it, other than, I don't know why I killed my father. I didn't want to, but I did.
I felt compelled.
It's like, then why did you kill him and then run away? What was there wasn't, I understand he doesn't know why he did it, but we're never given an explanation as to why he did it. If it had been something that he was somehow compelled to do because of he got a spell cast on him, or somehow maybe Cobb was already manipulating him to come to him somehow. I don't know exact things here. I'm just kind of
because that actually kind of makes more sense that Cobb would have some control over this
right.
dark entity.
Granted, it's a different country, and it was still going to be probably a month's travel at most. At the shortest. From their kingdom to Horktown.
Yeah. I think it would have been a really interesting there again. Be like,
I've read far enough away. The kid's surprised that slavery is a thing.
Yeah. The thing I thought would have been really interesting if you had a Cobb and like pulling the strings the entire time.
Yeah.
That he's been manipulating the prince, and
that
like,
would
cause him to murder his father, and he doesn't understand why. Granted, and you get this dark entity that's following him. It's Cobb the entire time.
Granted, we're supposed to get the idea that what Cobb has been doing is what's caused the world to get out of balance, and and doing that allowed the kid to get depressed, possessed somehow. But I mean, that seems like it was almost chance. It was not someone manipulating events in their favor, which is what that kind of villain needs to be. Yes, he's opportunistic, and yes, it's a fantasy thing where he's not going to control the whole world. This is not a JRPG.
True.
But it's like, give me more reason for why the kid did this, and hook it back into our villain.
Yeah,
Would it have felt contrived? Maybe.
maybe.
But still, that would give me more of a feeling of how powerful Cobb is supposed to be, other than he rules this one town. He somehow he's learned because of Hare that's a kid with a magic sword, because it's basically all he knows, is in town, and he's hanging out with Sparrowhawk, the Archmage.
Yes.
So there's more going on here, and I can get kind of why it's like this is really what it comes down to. What, because there's so little explanation for some things, and they didn't use those. They didn't make an explanation that hooked back into the villain.
Right.
The villain becomes less and less villainous.
Yes.
In such a way, which makes the ending when she goes Dragon Ex Machina feel like, did you really think the end of this story through?
Yeah.
To bring everything forward. It's not, like I said, it's not a bad film, but it's like these things. It's like, if you'd have done this, you could have tightened this up and made a coherent story. I guess that's really what it comes down to, is this story does not feel coherent.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's what it comes down to. So yeah, I'm going to go with my third dislike is the incoherency of this story.
Agreed.
So we need to rate this thing.
Yeah. So what did you rate it?
Giving it a 6.5.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I feel this is the weakest film of the Studio Ghibli library.
Yeah.
With Ocean Waves literally being right above it. Ocean Waves, I just thought was boring.
You mean below it?
No, above it.
Okay.
I actually consider this below Ocean Waves.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
And I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
Ocean Waves was just boring.
Okay.
For the most part. And then had an ending that pissed me off.
Fair.
This is... It's so good in other places that where it drops the ball is... It makes it feel that much worse. It's like, because I actually do like these characters, but for the most part, these characters don't do anything. I feel like I should be right. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Not I said drop the ball earlier, but it's another phrase.
It doesn't hit the mark.
Maybe it's like it's like they had all of the ingredients for a great film, and you can taste every single one of those ingredients.
Yeah.
But when they got to the baking, they had the temperature wrong. It got burnt, and because it had so good high points, the fact that it doesn't measure up to what it should be makes it that much worse.
Or it's slightly undercooked.
Right.
Underbaked.
It's like it smells good. It looks good. It should be delicious.
Yeah.
And you bite into it and it's like, okay, some of this is overcooked. Some of this is undercooked. I don't want to finish this. And since this did actually make me go and pick up the book or get the book on Audible, and I've been going through the first book in the franchise, or the series, and I'm seeing how well Ursula K. Le Guin has built this universe. I'm like, wow. It's like, Goro, how did you screw this up?
Right.
Granted, from what I understand, this is a hard universe to really adapt, because, and I can see why, with like how the magic system is deeply enrooted in everyday life, with the fact that you have a name you can't give to other people, which is your true name. You have to give them a spoken name, so everyone has two names, and you have to explain why, because the true name thing is going to come up.
True.
How do you adapt that in a 2-hour film to where it makes sense? Here they kind of did it, but the thing is, they kind of didn't do it, because everybody and their dog knows how this works, because it affects everybody.
True.
There's never a person who's going to not know what any of that means.
True.
The only way you can do that is to have somebody isekai'd into this world.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
And that would change everything.
It would.
So, yeah, I think this is probably Goro Miyazaki probably did the best he could, but you can tell it's his first outing.
Yeah.
And he made a couple mistakes.
Right.
And it could have been better. I know he directed a couple others that are after this, and I don't remember which ones. I think Arrietty might be the next one he did, which we are doing this month. But this one is like, yeah, he made some poor decisions here, and admittedly, this was probably not the first thing. This was probably not a good thing to start with.
Okay.
If you're directing a film, you probably and admittedly, Hayao Miyazaki, he started with Lupin the Third, but everyone knew what that was in Japan at the time. You go into this, there's people who hear, oh, Tales from Earthsea, what's that? Oh, cool, it's got a dragon on the cover. That'll be fun. And it's a complex world, it's a complex story, and then you kind of tell it in like the simplest way possible, which doesn't tell you, you can see there are hints of richness in the world. And then the fact that apparently there are some aspects of this that are not in the book that are adapted from his dad's manga that he did years ago. And now I'm wondering, okay, which of this is Miyazaki and which one of this is Le Guin? I don't know. So yeah, 6.5.
Okay.
It's undercooked. Okay. And it's undercooked in places and overcooked in others.
I agree. I'm gonna give it a little higher. It's a 7 for me.
Okay.
I enjoy there again. It's a Studio Ghibli film, so obviously you're gonna get great animation. You have beautiful like design. You have beautiful backgrounds, which is like just give me one of those backgrounds. Make it a matte painting. Put it in a frame. Put it in the house. I will love it and explain it to anybody who wants to know. But I agree. Be like, yeah, the story is a little undercooked because we don't have all the context. We don't have the information we need to fully understand. We have the Dragon Ex Machina scene, which throws you for the biggest loop in the planet. But like, if we would have had more understanding, more grounding to understand why this happens and why this and why this, I think the movie would have been far better. We had had a greater understanding of the film. But as it is, I think if we're just going on the animation, which Studio Ghibli does far, like we've seen films that do higher what was it? I'm trying to think of the series, which I'm just, oh my gosh, like Weathering with You.
Yeah,
like different target bio sauce, but you're talking with like greater like atmospheric and background, whatever. But this is a Ghibli being Ghibli. I can't give the movie anything less than a 7 because it's just a beautiful film. Be like, it does have its flaws in a story that needed to have a little more time, maybe a little more in the oven. Using your analogy, but overall, be like, I enjoyed it. I think it's a film I probably would go back and rewatch. I actually just downloaded the first book of the book series on kind of your recommendation. So
I've got about an hour left on it. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'll be like, I enjoyed this movie. It's a 7. It's not like you said, it's a little undercooked in some parts, maybe a little overcooked, but I enjoyed it. So I enjoyed it tremendously.
Well, on that note, that finishes our review of this film. Next week, we are going back to Hayao Miyazaki with his book based on the classic Hans Christian Andersen's tale of The Little Mermaid, though that is a very loose basis.
Yes.
We are looking at Ponyo. So everybody get your ham together to give to the water girl. Have you seen Ponyo?
No, I haven't.
You have no idea why I'm bringing up ham, do you?
No, I don't, because when the movie was coming out, I saw when the
Ponyo likes ham.
Yeah, so when Disney was doing the dub, it was like, wait a minute, they're using who for this character and who for this character?
Oh yeah, because we do have Liam Neeson as kind of the villain. This was another one of those where there's not really a villain, but there is an antagonist.
Yeah. And they use a young Cyrus and they use a young Jonas in this movie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which I was like, okay, that's interesting.
So yeah,
You'll find out when we're talking about later if you don't know already.
And this would actually, and fun fact, Ponyo is the first Studio Ghibli film I got to see in theaters.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because that was after I finally had seen some, when it was coming out.
Yeah.
I'd finally gone and seen some things that I was, the first Ghibli film I saw was Spirited Away, but I wasn't too hip on it. And then I went and watched a couple others, Mononoke.
Yeah.
Porco Rosso.
So, yeah.
Kiki.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh yeah,
Kiki.
sure, I'll go watch this. And Hayao Miyazaki, the new Hayao Miyazaki's new film is going to be in theaters. Like, oh, it's actually going to be within 100 miles of me. It was actually in Tyler. Granted, I have no idea if if any of the others showed in theaters that were close enough, but I went and watched this one. So this was the first one I got to see in theaters, and let's just say this may not be my favorite one either.
Okay, so this is gonna be an interesting month.
I'm not saying it's bad.
No, I know that.
I'm saying this may not be living up to expectations.
Mm.
Either way, join us on the other side of the bumpers. We'll be talking about news, what we've been watching, X-Men.
Mm-hmm. X-Men.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Which, boy, these episodes of X-Men. Though one of these is one of the ones I have pleasant memories of.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a minute.
Yes.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest listening to the Retro Rewind podcast. On the Retro Rewind podcast, every other week, you can join them as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco, Paul, and a rotating series of guest hosts, who are all out of time. The Cel Cast would also like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and Edwin Gonzalez. If you want your name shouted out on the show, special art from Jacob, and uncut episodes of the Cel Cast, please donate to us on Patreon. That cut out faster than I intended, but whatever. Yes, David, I probably did need Paul's slow and boring for this one. So you ready to jump into our next thing?
Sure, why not?
All right. So, Jacob, I have a question for you.
What have you been watching?
A whole lot of nothing.
Still?
I had been
well, okay, admittedly.
Yeah, with my issue.
It's been stressful. I'm surprised actually we were able to get that artwork to me under the current stress level.
I would not say stressful because I really wasn't stressed about it, because it was like, okay, get this done. And it's like, okay, this is gonna be delayed until this time. But it was more just having to store things away in the whole bit. But I did get a chance to like I told you guys yesterday about they released the final Beatles song.
Yes.
Now and then. And it's great. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it wherever you listen to music. Really wonderful. It's really touching. And so while I was waiting, I got my notes done the whole bit. And I was looking on Disney Plus, and they have the music video for it. And I was like, wow, this is really cool, because they took different footage and spliced it together where it's all the Beatles are together, and it's really well done. And so I got done with that. It was like a 4-minute video, and they were going to go listen to this. It's great, because they're going to be like, this apparently is the last song from the Beatles as a group. And speaking of the Beatles, there was a documentary that Peter Jackson had done. I
Mhm.
think it was like last year or the year before that, and called "Get Back the Beatles."
Yeah.
And apparently, it was the behind the scenes of the Beatles were together for like a month, for like a week or so together, and they were like exploring, making new music, and getting ready for a live performance. And it's just them, creating music. And apparently, at one point, George Harrison apparently just quit in the middle of everything. He's like, "Well, I'm going for lunch," and he went home. And in his diary, he said, "I quit the Beatles." I was like, "Okay, we know he's coming back. I know that." But I was like, "Oh, okay, this is interesting." So, yeah, I thought that was really cool. And like again, it wasn't really much of a stressful week because stress was more like work and the whole
Right.
bit, but home was more just great, except for just learning people who passed away. And then you have Matthew Perry passing away all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
And like Friends was like the Friday night show or Thursday night show you just watch the family. And to learn like one of those actors passed away was kind of sad to hear. But other than that,
Well, your family watched Friends.
yeah, my family watched Friends.
My family did not. So I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
understand it's big, but I had to. His name when his name popped up earlier this week on the
Yeah.
internet. I'm going, who?
Hmm.
I don't know him
Ah.
because I didn't watch Friends.
Oh, okay. I have several friends and my sister-in-law be like, "What? You didn't watch Friends? What kind of person are you?"
No, I did not watch Friends.
Huh.
I've not seen an episode, and I've never felt a need to watch it.
Ah, okay.
So, say la vie.
Yeah, exactly. But be like, anyways, I don't know how to come back from that. Yeah, that's all I've been watching. I've listened to like morning podcasts, get ready in the morning. Yeah, sleeping in an air mattress for the last week has been interesting. Let's say that.
I imagine
Yeah, so I'm gonna be sleeping on an air mattress for another 2 weeks.
you'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
But anyway,
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's against my will.
Rune Knight, I believe, is the name of that show
Yes.
that we haven't watched in a year, but yet that line is so freaking funny.
Oh,
It comes up so often.
so kind of a funny story. So we went to the viewing of someone like we both know who passed away.
Yeah.
And me, my fiance, and her mother went, and I actually ran into a friend of ours, Chase, and we're just catching up the whole bit, and we're just talking. I start. I think it's the first or second line of you like, it's like, yeah, it's against my will, and we just bust out laughing. We watched that. We watched that, but it was just a great time catching up with Chase there. But yeah.
So what?
So what have you been watching, listening to, playing, and
Well, I've been listening, as we've said earlier
Yes.
today, a lot. I've been working my way through Tale of Earthsea and Wizard of Earthsea.
yes,
I've got about an hour left, and maybe he will defeat this evil. Maybe he won't. I'm assuming he does, since there's more books, or it's just going to follow him for the rest of eternity. Who knows?
Mhm.
But I've been listening to that. I've been playing 14. They just released a event in collaboration with the game Fall Guys.
okay,
I have been playing that a lot. I played it on stream, even though I don't think anyone watched me on stream, but oh well, whatever.
yeah,
So I did that Tuesday, and then watched Spy Family last Saturday. That show is getting good. In fact, we are finally getting to some more. I say we're finally getting to some more story. We're finally getting to some more long form story where it's not going to be these little half episodes where
Yeah.
we're getting to know characters and letting some character growth go here and there. Don't get me wrong, I like that stuff too, but
yeah,
I'm ready to sink my teeth back into spying stuff where it's the main point of the show. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yes.
And Spy Family is just so good, guys. I can't talk it up enough. Okay. The only reason it is not on the list for animated series so far,
Because we have other shows to watch first.
that and even though after Evangelion, it's not directly on my list.
Yeah.
A good portion of that is because I don't have a good way to get you to watch it because it's only on Crunchyroll. And I don't think you have Crunchyroll.
No, I don't have Crunchyroll.
So there's that little hiccup.
Yeah.
And B, there are Blu-rays, but I hadn't bought them yet. And I think they've only released part 1 of season 1.
Fair.
So
Fair.
And then the fact is like, well, this looks like it might be a show that's going on for a while.
Yeah.
And while I'm fine doing this every once in a while with like Lower Decks and such like that,
Yeah.
this is something it's like, we might want to wait on this a little while longer till we can kind of go through the whole thing.
Right.
So that's kind of where the wait is there. But this is a show I really want to talk about with people. I had a way just to get you to watch just so we could talk about it.
Okay.
But even if it was not on the stream.
We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later.
But yeah, it's not going to be on the review anytime soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, also I watched 2022's The Munsters by Rob Zombie, of all people.
Oh, really?
Here's the thing. I watched The Munsters as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
And when I heard Rob Zombie was making a film based on this franchise, I'm thinking, who let him? Because it's like, this is Rob Zombie. This guy makes horror films.
Right.
How is he going to make a sitcom that happens to feature monsters where it's not going to be like the
horror and rednecks,
the horror version of a Fantasy Island,
right? That
came out. What was it, 2021,
something like that?
And it's like Fantasy Island is not
horror.
It's kind of lighthearted. Yes, it's a Twilight Zone on an island, but still,
yeah.
And so I'm expecting something like that. I go into this and it's like, well, it's not the worst Munsters film.
Okay.
There's a couple others that are pretty bad. For a prequel, this is half decent. Granted, it's cheesy.
Yeah.
Beyond belief.
Gotcha.
But it's strangely in line with the original show. So
okay.
I can kind of work with it.
I heard really, really bad reviews because everyone was like, oh my gosh, Rob Zombie doing this? Like same reaction you had.
It leans into the campiness maybe more than it should.
Okay.
It doesn't play the camp straight. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's got a lot of winking at the camera.
Gotcha.
And that's probably the biggest downside to the film, but wasn't horrible.
Okay.
It felt like I knew what he was pulling from. I thought the characters were like on par. On par. They were right where they were supposed to be, but the writing was just left a little bit to be desired for the most part, because The Munsters is supposed to be somewhat of a fish out of water story.
I got you.
And they don't get to 1313 Mockingbird Lane until like the last act.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It takes place mostly in Transylvania.
Okay.
Which is, to them, was like normal.
Okay.
So anyway, it's not a bad film, but it's not like not as good as it could have been.
Okay.
And Sunday I forced Chase to watch like a couple episodes of Gravity Falls.
I love Gravity Falls.
On
your recommendation, obviously.
Yeah. Probably we haven't discussed this. Gravity Falls was on the vote.
Yes, with Batman.
The original vote, of course, was it was Batman, but then we both discussed it. I suggested that we do to X-Men, switch that to X-Men because of
that's right.
We thought X-Men 97 was coming out this year.
Yeah, well, that's what we thought.
And it's still coming out soon, is all we know from Disney.
Next year.
Probably.
Hopefully.
But either way, I really felt like we should get through all of X-Men before X-Men, the new X-Men.
Yeah, we're going to be done for the year.
Which I think we both agreed that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And the other ones we had on there was Lower Deck season 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And then Evangelion. Well, we did all those 3. We haven't discussed if we should just go ahead and do Gravity Falls, since Gravity Falls got 0 votes in that poll. But at the same time, it's like, we may let y'all vote next time. I don't know.
Maybe
We haven't
maybe.
discussed it, so I
Yeah,
don't know
we
if we're
haven't.
just gonna eschew the vote after Evangelion and do Gravity Falls or not. But I kind of want to.
Yeah, let's just. I would definitely say be like ever since
We
it
will
was.
talk about it.
yeah.
We still have we have 2 months
We have 2
to
months.
make
We'll
a
talk.
decision on this. So because it's like February or March,
Something like-
February when
February.
Evangelion's going to be
It'll be
finished.
February.
So
Jeez.
it's going to be a rough. Let me put it this way: I've already been playing with the intro for this,
Oh,
which I may show you
A
afterward,
sample?
before we get
yes, please.
between stuff.
Yeah.
I have something fun at the end of it. So,
Well, to all of your most of your bumpers or your more intros are always very interesting. So I'm very.
I may have to shorten this one because that's the problem with the X-Men one is it's too long.
Yeah.
And I knew it was too long when we first did it, but I couldn't fix it. And this one is like it's still doing like the whole song basically. So I may shorten it. But
I gotcha.
We'll see.
Gotcha.
Anyway. What do we have in
The
news?
Deal it.
The Cel Cast news with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Deal it. And the only bit of news I can find is actually Studio Ghibli related. G-Kids has released today the English language trailer for the Oscar-winning filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki's new film, and quote unquote his last film. Well,
This is his fifth last film.
The Heron and the Boy and the Heron. The new trailer features a new look at the vocal performances of the film's all-star English cast and was produced in accordance to the SAG AFTRA foreign dubbing agreement.
Because we're still dealing with the actor strike too right
Yes,
now.
Yes. And they got a handful of really, really good actors to do this film.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Apparently Batman himself
Again.
and
this is the second time Christian Bale's
this
been
is
in
the
one
second
of these
time
things.
Christian Bale is in this film. And Cobb makes a reappearance.
Yes.
William Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. It's like,
William Dafoe's in it.
and considering so much I'm just going off the trailer, feels like they're pulling from visuals from previous Studio Ghibli films. Like, are you making your Avengers Endgame with this film? What's going on? Is this
Oh my God.
Studio Ghibli Ultimate? Because there's stuff here as like it looks like you've got the flame from Howl's Moving Castle,
Yeah.
except it's a girl this time and she
Mm.
has a human face somehow.
Mm.
Don't know what that's about.
I still haven't seen this trailer yet. I need to.
Oh yeah, you need to. It's a good trailer. It's like I saw it. I think I saw it yesterday. It's like, oh, looks like it's going to be good.
Mm.
Unfortunately, it's coming out at a bad time for us because there's so many things coming out that weekend.
Mhm.
But anyway, continue.
Yes. So yeah, that's all I have for in news, unless you have something else.
This isn't really news, but we've always said that if y'all left us like comments on our different social media platforms, that we would read them.
Yes.
Especially if they were like reviews and other forms of feedback.
Really?
We have one from Patreon.
Really?
Yes, from Edwin Gonzalez. This was one he sent on October 21st through the private messaging system on Patreon. It says, I'm going to admit, this is kind of written weird.
Okay.
So bear with me. It says, I'm the bad guy. That's fine. It's no fault of mine. Fun fact: Tangled and a Power Ranger season have something in common. A steampunk-inspired villain and blue streak in their hair. I didn't read all this all the way through. Oh, he's talking about Tangled the series.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, This is a steampunk-inspired villain and blue streak in their hair and goggles, a redemption arc, and a great voice. I've been listening all over the podcast feed, having many marathons of your episodes based on personal stuff and movies where I felt it's underloved, or ones that get my little brother to sleep, and etc. Love the deedlid stuff. That's deedlid, by the way. The interrogations and the Kingdom Hearts connections. It's a blast having a variant marathon of your episodes.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. Did you send that little thing I sent you on to Patreon?
I think that's what I just read, isn't it?
No. The special piece of art I did.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I think I did.
Okay.
I will double check that and make sure it's up there.
Okay, gotcha.
But
so yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be like I'd be like, he sent it to me and I was like, ooh, because I knew what he's talking about.
mhm.
I was like, ooh. So yeah, if you're interested in what I actually drew,
I will put
it's
it up
only
there.
on Patreon.
It's not up there yet, but I will put it there.
Oh,
I
okay.
just double checked.
Well, when he does post it, because that's the only place you're gonna see it, people. Be like, unless you be like you saw my feed at one point where I did draw it and I showed a snippet of it. And if you're curious, be like, obviously it's a picture of variant from Tangled series or Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure. If you want to see the full image, you're not going to see it anywhere else except for Patreon. So if you want to go see it,
That's where you go see it.
Yeah, go see it there.
Go to Patreon. Give us at least $1.
Yeah,
that's all we're asking is $1.
That's it.
Now, you want the regular, you want the uncut episodes? That's $5.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
You ready to jump into X-Men?
Yes, let's jump into X-Men.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over-bulky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic
Say
and
what?
aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived.
X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
X-Men the animated series. We are within the last 6 episodes.
Yeah, breathe.
Very much. Last 4 episodes. And of course, these are out of order with when they aired. All 4 of them.
You're not kidding. Oh my gosh.
And here's a fun fact: this first one we're reviewing,
yeah,
I actually remember.
Yeah, same here.
And I don't remember it looking this bad. That is, we're talking about Old Soldiers,
yeah,
which first aired February 22nd, 1997.
Yes.
It was directed, of course, by Larry Houston and Fred Miller. Those are names you should definitely know by now.
Mhm.
And it was written by Eric Lewald, Len Wein, Sidney Iwanter, and Mark Edward Edens. In this episode, while visiting the grave of a friend in an army cemetery in France, Wolverine remembers a mission he did for him while battling the Nazis and Red Skull with none other than Captain America by his side.
Mm-hmm.
Guest cast for this includes, well, this first one, he's not really a guest cast member, he's a regular cast member, but normally Cedric Smith is the voice of Professor Charles Xavier. But in this, he's voicing Red Skull.
Oh, I can hear that now.
Which is very interesting when you consider the future comics history of these characters. Look up Red Onslaught if you're wanting to know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Red Onslaught. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard about that character.
We also have Tomasz Marzecki as the worst German soldier accent.
Oh gosh.
That is the very worst not German accent I think I've heard since like the World War II era Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Oh gosh. I've heard some bad ones. This wasn't. It's okay.
Yes.
It's decent, but it's still. It's like ugh, cringy.
And we have Lawrence Bain playing none other than that star-spangled man with the plan, Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Trivia for this episode, of course, this is the debut of Captain America, Red Skull, and Captain Samuel Happy Sam Sawyer.
Yeah.
And technically, I believe this is also their final appearance also, because I really doubt any of them are appearing in the next 3 episodes.
Yes.
Cameos for this. We have Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos being Nick Fury, Timothy Dum Dum Dugan, Robert Rebel Ralston, Isidore Izzy Cohen, and Percival Pinkerton, along with Gabriel Jones. And if you're wondering, if you went and watched this episode, wondering why Nick Fury does not look a thing like Samuel L. Jackson, that's because no one thought to make him look like Samuel L. Jackson at this point.
Yeah, the Ultimates hadn't come out yet.
Yeah. And he was a white man in the original thing, because he was a World War II character.
Yeah.
It's just how they were drawing characters at the time.
Exactly.
Now,
There's some
he
period.
does at a later point adopt a young African American man who he gives the names Nick Fury to, because he's technically Nick Fury Jr.
Oh,
and that's the one that grows into Samuel L. Jackson.
Really?
In the newer comics.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay.
That's why in 616 he still looks like Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, that makes sense now.
Even though it's an old, because the Ultimate's Nick Fury is technically dead.
Okay, then. I didn't know that.
Because,
That's
the Ultimate Universe and the regular Earth 616 universe in the comics have merged to get together, which is why you can have Miles Morales running around with Peter Parker. But their Nick Fury is not the same Nick Fury in the 616.
Really?
Dealing with Nick Fury Jr. in 616.
Really?
And that's the one that looks like Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay. Interesting.
Because the Nick Fury, the original one is dead. Anyway. While the Red Skull activates his robot, the Sleeper, he exclaims, "The Sleeper has awakened." This is the same line that Kyle MacLachlan says in the movie Dune 1984. Father, the Sleeper has awakened.
Oh gosh, that movie. Oh. Just like having terrible flashback. I had to watch that movie for that other podcast we were on.
Movie of the Week.
Movie of the Week. Thank you, Jim. Oh my gosh, it took me, I think, 3 or 4 tries to watch that film. It was so boring.
I watched that in one night, and that's because I understand why you didn't like it.
Yeah,
and I only liked it because like 5 minutes into that film, I'm like, all right, I've got it's me and the Rift Tracks robots at this point, because that's kind of where I was mentally.
Gotcha.
Also, Red Skull's robot has the skull imagery that is on it is similar to the Punisher's skull on his outfit.
Got it.
Which is like, how many different ways can you draw a skull?
A lot of ways.
Yeah, but apparently we went straight to the Punisher's version for this. What are your thoughts on this episode?
Actually, I really enjoyed it. I could kind of look past the funky animation for once. But the if you go back and listen to our previous episode over Book of Life, where we pull up Nate Marchand and Master Activated,
which I have his permission to continue using that clip as long as we attribute it to him.
Okay, yeah.
So it is going to go on the soundboard. I just need to make one slight modification to it so I never forget to attribute it to him.
Okay, I gotcha. But I enjoyed the story tremendously because it was very much a Wolverine centric film. Our episode actually that just like focuses on him and like his, but he obviously in the beginning it's some World War II vets are paying tribute to a friend. They're like, hey, this guy looks like this. Oh, you couldn't be him. You're too young. It's like, yeah, if only I could tell you, Bob, whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
and I'm sitting there going, so we're gonna see these characters later on in this episode?
Nope.
Nope.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Nope. But I enjoy that we go back. We do a Wolverine flashback. The one disappointment I had because where Cap and Wolverine meet up and they're like, oh, they've got to climb this, and it's like, oh, I've got these handy things, and puts on claws. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, time out. Be
This
like,
would have been before Weapon X.
yeah, but he had bone claws.
Except not when this episode was written. The
That is-
bone claws were created for that movie and then put into the comics.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, then.
Or if I am wrong on that, it is like not far from
No,
before
no,
that
like,
movie that he got bone claws.
I think so because they introduced that. They introduced it in the oh crap, I think it was in the 90s when
Well, it was after this episode.
yeah, because he actually has bone
'Cause-
claws.
Because
later.
at this point in time, he does not get any claws until after the adamantium infusion of his skeleton.
Yeah, because what I remember, because they're gonna be like, I'm not the biggest comic reader, I never
Right.
have been, but far as I understand, when Magneto rips his adamantium out of his bones, when he starts healing, be like, there's a amazing panel by what was that? Adam Kirby. It shows him where he pops out his claws for the
Right.
first time and they're bone. So
But-
he had bone claws.
But that was
Initially.
something that was introduced after this point.
Okay.
I do
then.
know that. It was after this point when that was introduced.
Okay. Gotcha.
I know it gained its infamy
Mhm.
from that one X-Men film, which I don't remember which one that is. It may have been X-Men
X-Men,
Origins
it's
Wolverine.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
It's you have to admit it's the stupidest looking thing in that film. And I understand it's there already in the comics before that point, but it is still one of the oddest things they've ever done to Wolverine.
Minus the scene in X-Men not Age, they never did Age of Apocalypse, but Days of Future Past, where
Mhm.
Wolverine goes into his younger body.
And has to pull it. There it made sense because we had already done there was no
No,
shot
no, no,
there.
no. Like, I'm sorry, but like that scene,
It
that's-
was Days of Future Past.
it was
where he
Days of
went
Future
back in
Past,
time.
but the scene I'm talking about is where Wolverine he gets in X-Men Origins where he gets his metal claws for the first time, and it's such a bad digital effect. It's like ching 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 ching, and they're going through each other. It's like the worst, not the worst animation I've seen so far with comic book films, but it was far close. But I digress. We're not talking about Marvel films. We're talking about X-Men the animated series.
This is actually before I go to praising this episode, because I actually do like this.
Yeah, I
episode.
enjoyed it too.
Did you notice a weird sound mixing with both of these episodes, or was
Yeah.
that just me?
I
Because it
noticed that
seemed like the audio and the sound effects were much louder than the
They were.
vocals.
they
Okay,
were.
so that wasn't me. I don't know if that's a Disney,
Yeah.
if that's because of Disney Plus,
Mm.
or if this is an issue with the digital versions that were probably made for the DVD back in the day, or
Mm. gosh.
something wrong with
This
the
still look-
masters or what. But the only reason I could hear, I knew what people were saying in some of these
Mhm.
scenes was because I had the closed captioning on.
Got it.
So yeah, there was some weird audio in this
Agreed.
episode, but that's like the only real downside I have to this, other than just the weird extra fluidity that this current animation style has for these characters.
Yes.
This episode is like, okay, we got Wolverine and Captain America killing Nazis,
Yes.
and you can say that they're Nazis
Mhm.
because they never said Hydra.
No.
Yes, we fought Red Skull.
Yes.
We never said it was Hydra, which who else has got that got to leave in World War II, even though we never said who they were,
Yeah.
the Nazis. So we
Well,
got
the-
Wolverine and Captain America killing Nazis. Or
The-
sorry, this is Saban destroying Nazis.
So the closest thing we get to an acknowledgement that this is the Third Reich, these are Nazis.
Because it's Germany. And
It's Germany during World War
Yes.
II.
and they refer to him as Uncle Adolf.
Uncle, I love that. When Wolverine keeps calling them goose steppers.
Yes, those German goose steppers. It's like, you're doing everything you can to not actually say the word Nazi, aren't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Because that's probably a word that would get you. You probably couldn't get past the Fox.
Yeah, it get flagged on that one. But I kept saying, in the the history nerd I am, because I have a huge love World War II history. I was like, it's Goose Step, not Goose Step.
Oh, he's an American. Talking
I know.
About what
He's Canadian. He's not American. He's Canadian.
He's North American.
He's Canuck.
He's North American.
Okay.
He's still running around with Captain America, so hey, who cares? This was just a fun episode because
I agree. It was so much fun.
Got to be like the only episode of X-Men where a non-X-Men hero is a major player in the episode.
Exactly.
The only other time we had an X-Men, a non-X-Men character come up was in A Rogue's Tale when we had Carol Danvers show up for a hot second, but that was in a flashback to show how Rogue learned how to fly.
Yes.
And yes, I say Carol Danvers. I did not say Captain Marvel or Ms.
Carol
Marvel. We
Danvers.
all know who she is, but I want to make sure there was no confusion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is actually just such a fun episode. Getting to see Wolverine and Captain America killing Nazis.
Yeah. Kicking Nazi butt.
Destroying Nazis. I got to say that right because this is Fox
Spawn.
Kids. It's destroying Nazis. Yes, I wouldn't have said Nazis either, but whatever.
Kicking some Nazis butts.
And I loved how obviously they could never show the swastika.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Would also
get you so
flagged on Fox Kids. So where obviously the swastika was supposed to go on those sleeper robots.
Yeah, it was just
it's just a giant no symbol. Like, you know what goes here. We weren't allowed to put it here, so we're just going to put a giant circle with a slash.
Yeah.
No, not here.
Yeah, not here. Oh,
and I do like, I did like the design of these things. They were not too, the giant robots were not too space age.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be World War II. It actually feels like 1940s, early futurism, where it's still very mechanical, not very digital like modern stuff would be. Even though technically the Sentinels are also very mechanical,
true,
in their thing. But this does not feel like those. This feels like old, like clockwork kind of a thing.
Yes,
and I love the design on them, and the fact that we actually got Red Skull. Here's the thing. I know I saw this episode because I remember Captain America and Wolverine fighting in World War II. I remember this from a kid. I do not remember them fighting Red Skull.
Okay.
I don't even remember Red Skull until I was trying to figure out what Captain America's story was when that movie was starting to come out, and I looked up character. I was doing research on it. So yeah, I actually like that we actually got to fight Red Skull on this. Like, okay, this is lots of fun.
Okay.
So yeah.
This was this was a very enjoyable episode. Because there again, it kind of wraps up who Wolverine is in a way. And then you get the next episode.
Let's go ahead and get that out of the way.
Pull the massive band-aid off, pull the hair out. Let's just do it.
Hidden Agendas. Directed once again by Larry Houston and Fred Miller. And this episode was written by Eric Lewald, Sidney Ewanter, and Mark Edward Edens. I'm guessing that Sidney Ewanter is the primary writer of these episodes, and they're doing and Mark Edward Edens and Eric Lewald, who have written a lot of all these other episodes, they must have been doing script doctoring.
Yeah,
that's my guess. This episode, where I got this, I think where I get the summaries, I think they got it wrong here. Tell me if I'm right that they got it wrong.
Okay.
Sam Guthrie's parents have contacted Professor Xavier about their son's mutant powers. That is not what happened.
That is not the summary.
They never talked to Xavier at all till the very end of this thing.
Yeah, because the only time Sam brings up Professor
Xavier doesn't even know who they are.
No, Kirk's gonna be like, Sam knows who they are because I've seen him on television.
Yeah, but
I know
never talked to them before.
No.
The X-Men do not know who this is.
Yeah, at the very end to be like, that's it.
So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the guest cast.
Yes.
Adrian Egan was the voice of Cannonball, aka Samuel Guthrie.
Yes.
And Tara Strong was the voice of Paige Guthrie, his sister. And this is the only piece of trivia that I was able to find for this. One of Sam's tormentors wears a Punisher t-shirt.
He does.
And that's painfully obvious. That's what it is. Good night. This is a horrible episode.
It's not done very well.
I get what it's doing, but it's like
the story wise, interesting. The story wise,
but this is a season 1 story. It's like you're just harshing again. It's like humans hate mutants,
Yeah.
so we're going to be evil to them. And there's an evil government organization that's going to try and weaponize mutants.
Yeah.
Did they ever say what this organization was called? I don't think they did.
I don't think so. It was like some special organization.
Right, but this could have been Shield, Sword, or
Right.
anything. It's like they gave no clue as to what this actually was. For all we knew, this was the Weapon X program all over again.
True.
It was just like general evil government agents are trying to capture mutants, and that's all we really need to know about it. Granted, I actually like the design for Guthrie, for Sam Guthrie in this. And I kind of like his character, but
Yeah.
oh, this episode is so overcooked, undercooked. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Well,
It's like we
here's
should know what this is. And granted, I think the only interesting thing here is that Rogue goes under the name of Miss LeBeau.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I looked this up because it's like, okay, obviously she got the last name from
Remy.
Remy.
Yes.
I get that. I wonder what her actual last name is.
Hmm.
Do you know that the only last name we actually have for Rogue is LeBeau? Because
Really?
she married Remy apparently in the comics at one point.
Yeah.
Her parents are never given a last name.
Yeah, because all we know her actual name is like Marie.
Anna Marie.
Anna Marie.
And the Mystique. Her cover at that point when she was had adopted Rogue, they never gave a last name for that character.
No, they
so
did
as
not.
far as we know, she doesn't have a last name until she married Remy.
Yeah.
So interesting. And that from what I could tell, that happened after this. So that's as far as we know, her only last name is LeBeau.
True.
So but yeah, this is just kind of a
It's kind of a bland
dull
movie.
episode.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I like the premise because it does deal with fear mongering. Because
Yeah.
you have this entire
And-
community is riled up because this general wants this
But
this
man,
boy
did
for
they-
his mutant powers.
Man, did they turn on him fast?
Yeah,
Because none of that town seemed to hate this kid at the beginning of the episode. And they all knew he was a mutant.
yeah,
He was the only mutant in town, and no one seemed to care until someone came up and says, "Hey, you got a mutant around here? I hear they have radiation. That's what they're killing their cows." You killed my horse, Bessie.
Oh my
You have a
gosh.
mutant working in these mines because that's why there's radiation in these rocks. Or you could have found a deposit of uranium. Could go either way.
Because they're gonna be like, it's a good example of fear mongering and stirring people's fears up and that kind of stuff.
And I get
Like,
that, but
I enjoy the aspect of the story, but like I can't get past the ugly animation. It's so
there is that. And the other thing is, if you're trying to introduce this feels like you're trying to introduce the concept of why the X-Men are the heroes that are saving the world that hates them.
Yes.
You're having to explain why the humans hate mutants.
Yes.
This is the story you do in like episodes 2 or 3 of the series, not 3. Sorry, when this episode aired, 2 episodes, the second to last episode of the series. So is this just an old script that didn't get used till now? What? I don't know. It's just a kind of a dull episode.
Yeah, it
is. Especially at this point in the series.
I would agree with you. Be like it has be like there can be like I thought the last 2 episodes we did prior to old friends. It's not old friends, but the last episode we just did.
Old Soldiers.
Old Soldiers.
Even Jubilee's Fairy Tale Theater was much more original thought than this.
Yeah, like the animation, it's so flat. And this is one thing I kind of thought like watching this, because you have the introduced to this character who's supposed to be kind of a cannonball type character from the comics.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, be like he has like 3 angles of his face. And that's it, and it's all flat. And here's the problem I have with that. Because you have what is our character who's having the troubles? I can't remember his name.
Sam.
Be like Sam's having his issue, and he's walking with Rogue, and they're completely flat. There's no
Mhm.
dynamic or nothing to it. I keep thinking like even Rogue's flat, and she's never flat.
I was watching this episode, and this is the first episode where I really was paying attention to the animation.
Yes.
Because the last couple, when we've had with this animation style, I mean, you had you had Jubilee's Fairy Tale Theater, which was at least fun to watch, even if it was stupid.
Yes.
And you had the other, I don't remember the other one we did that episode, but and then you had, of course, Wolverine and Captain America fighting Nazis in the last one. This is the first one where it's literally, the story is so uninteresting to me because it's like so basic for an X-Men story. I'm paying attention to the animation. I finally realized where I've seen this animation style before.
Where?
Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
You're kidding me, right?
This is that animation.
Really?
It looks just like it. It's that style. And granted, different artwork, but you look at how they're moving the faces and the actual movement of characters. This is Captain Planet.
Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not. I'm just like I'm literally going to YouTube to find Captain Planet and look at the animation just for a minute. Continue.
Granted, you may disagree with me. It's the closest. It's the closest thing I can think to this style of character, where they're trying to do this goofy kind of, extra fluidic animation. Now, granted, a lot of Captain Planet is actually a lot better, has a lot more money put behind it.
Yeah.
Turner loved the Captain Planet idea. It was his. That was his baby. But and this is definitely just like, we're trying to get this stuff out as cheap as possible, and there's not a lot of quality control. But like I said, that's just the closest I can come to is like what this animation style is. Is this Captain Planet?
Fair enough.
I'm not saying it's exact. I'm saying it's very similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the last. That's pretty much ends my thoughts on this episode.
I gotcha. Yeah, just like you said, it's very dull story. The animation is so flat, and like I said, I'm watching this episode, and it's our character of the week and Rogue, because I couldn't Rogue does not have orange hair; she has red hair.
At least go brown, because that brown looks better than this orange.
Orange? Did she accidentally get her hair dunked in
she petted Garfield.
She petted Garfield, and her hair went poof. Other than that, it's just like, man, like there's when the X-Men just show up out of nowhere, and they're like, it's not Sam, it's these mutants here, it's the X-Men, and they're just backing up. Like, wait a minute, Wolverine would never back up.
We just got here. What's wrong with you people?
And there's one line where it's like, Gambit is saying something, but he's talking over Wolverine, but we never hear him say anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, Wolverine would be just like, no, we're not. Because it would be like Cyclops would tell him to back up, be like, you can't attack these people. They're innocent people. Well, more like dumb rednecks, but still. But it was just like, what in the world? This is Wolverine is just like doing this number the entire time. And it's like,
it's goofy. It's like, I don't even know why all the X-Men showed up here.
Yeah, there's no reason for it.
There should have been like
a small team of them.
It makes sense that Beast and Xavier would show up.
True.
And Gambit, of course.
But
why were Cyclops and Wolverine and Jean Grey there? In fact, is this the first time we've seen Jean Grey since the end of season 4?
I think no, she was in the episode with the Morlocks.
Yeah, and the Fairy Tale Theater.
In the Fairy Tale Theater.
She actually had
barely
a role in Fairy Tale Theater as she was the queen.
Oh my gosh.
Or the princess. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think she was
the queen. Was a goofy episode. It was a fun, goofy episode.
It was fun, but geez.
Yeah, I think. Do you have anything else before we cut out of this?
No. Well,
other than me telling what the next 2 episodes are.
The thing I'm gonna miss, because I think we're last 2 episodes.
Next one is the last. We got 2 episodes left before we finish with X-Men the animated series, and we're doing a special thing right after that.
Yes,
that's X-Men related.
So we have 2 more episodes left, or is it 2? sets of episodes.
We have 2 sets of episodes.
Okay.
Next week we have the episode Descent
Mhm.
and Graduation Day, which will finish X-Men the animated series.
Okay.
And then the week after that, we're doing Pride of the X-Men.
That's right. Which is okay. Yes.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay.
So yeah, I think other than that, that's probably gonna be it for this episode.
Okay.
Unless you got something else. I know you're still fact checking me on animation style.
I think the animation's a little more fluid. Now, granted, what I'm watching is season 1.
Yeah.
And I think the animation looks a little better because it's a lot more fluidic and it has more because they're like,
but it really feels like this is what they're aiming for.
Yeah.
Than what they were doing with
except the
seasons 1
characters
before.
have more dimension and shadow.
I didn't say it was better.
Okay.
Anyway, that's gonna do it for us, guys. Join us next week, of course, for Ponyo, along with those 2 episodes of X-Men the animated series I said earlier. And in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day.
I try.
His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron.
And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen.
His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cel Cast Podcast, on Twitch at the Cel Cast Gaming,
on YouTube at Cel Cast,
on Twitter at cast_cel. The Cel Cast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecelcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cel Cast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cel, with a single L.
Dragon X Machina.
Get a Dragon Power, raw.
You know, now that you say that, there are a lot of times where when Tommy shows up, it does feel like Dragon X Machina.
That is true.
That's the end of the show, guys.
Oh my gosh.
Let me see if our Twitch people have anyone to raid. They may not be.
Rate it now.
Book of Gaming is in the middle of his thing. Maybe D Tungsten. D Tungsten.
Castlevania's Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, that's what he's been playing.
Gotcha.
Raid. And I should have left that up so I could have said hi. And start raid. All right.